Hello. Welcome back, everyone. Guys, we were having some technical issues. Somehow, we're not able to go live with each other. So we did a little bit of experiment. Sorry, I had to go offline for a few minutes, but I'm back. So I'm just gonna wait for her to log back in, and I'm gonna bring her live. And I think it should work now because I don't see a reason why it shouldn't work. Alrighty, just give me a few seconds to get her on board. There she is. Send the request. Okay.
Good morning.
Yes, it worked. Magic. Yeah,
Right?
Instagram's playing tricks with us, huh? Yeah. They're like, oh, we're not giving up here, are we? We couldn't go
Absolutely.
live yesterday. We're gonna make it work today.
I'm doing really well. How are you?
So how are you today? I'm very well. Thank you for asking. So, before we start, I want you to just give a small, quick, brief introduction about yourself for
Oh
the
my goodness.
audience, and
Okay.
then we
Well,
will start
I'm
our
a single mom.
conversation.
I was married to my son's father for 19
Okay.
years. Um, and honestly, I probably should have left that
Okay.
marriage within about 6 months. But because I had made a commitment, I stayed. And I have spent a lot of time kind of healing my life and realizing that I need to heal myself and be a better person for myself. And that's where I am. So,
Right. Wow. So tell me, uh, what was your awakening moment? What happened suddenly that you realized that you needed to get out of that
actually, it sounds really
relationship,
bad,
that
but
marriage?
he wrote a letter to an ex-girlfriend from high school. And then he went and spent a weekend with her. And then after he did that,
Okay.
we had, a conversation about our relationship. Are you happy? And where are we? And he never actually emotionally came back um, to our marriage. And then I
Mm.
visited with a friend I hadn't seen in over 20 years. And that friend said to me, I don't see the sparkle in your eye. Who are you and where have you gone? And that was the moment that I realized I wasn't happy and I needed a change. Um,
Mm. Right. And then what did you do after that? Did you just walk out? How did things roll out after that moment when you realized that you weren't happy
we
and
actually
you
had been
this
going
was
to a
not your
counselor
place?
together. So I went into the counselor's office with him and I just said,
Okay.
things either need to change or I want a divorce. And his response was, whatever makes you happy. And so I said, okay, then I want a divorce. Because we'd been going to counseling for like 5 years.
So that
And I
was it.
realized that I was the one that was doing a lot of
Wow.
introspection and a lot of work and trying to save our relationship. And it was a lot of work. And at the time, my son was 3. And so I needed support and didn't have it. And it was easier just to
Yes.
do it on my own than to,
Mm.
to beg to be loved.
Hmm. And it's interesting how you stated it that for 5 years you were going to the counselor. Uh, why was what was the counselor doing there? Was he or she not able to identify
No,
uh
he
what was
he
going
he's an amazing
on,
therapist
or
actually, and he was
uh
able to see everything perfectly. Um, and he's told me, he said, this man is the toughest man I've ever met to crack. He said I've never gotten through to him, and he still goes to counseling, and it's been another 3 years. And this counselor's like, I cannot reach him. He actually he has PTSD from a deployment in Afghanistan. And I'm not blaming it on the
oh,
PTSD, but um, people who have a brain injury like that have a really hard time reaching down and finding their own emotions, and that's part of it
mm,
for him.
mhm. Right now. If you don't mind me asking you, so tell me how was your relationship when you were with him? Was it emotional detachment? Was it that he was verbally abusing you? What was
There
off
was
in your
complete emotional
relationship?
attachment, like totally. I was the one trying. I had when he was deployed, I had lost 100 pounds. I'm a little bit heavier, and his response to that was, "Wow, there's less of you." And there was not really, he wasn't able to emotionally attach, which is why I tried so hard to get him. I he had
Mm,
been more that way, and I wanted to have him come back, which is why I
mm,
tried so hard for so long. Um, but he's also a police officer, and they tend to shut their feelings down. And um, I thought I loved him with all my heart, and realizing now it was kind of a codependency. I was trying so hard to get him to love me, um,
mm,
that rather than love, it was codependency. So
mm. Right, right. And do you think now that you say that he was in, like, he's a police officer or was a police officer, do you think that played a major role in how he played out his emotions? Because maybe he's seen a lot being in that field, or I mean, if you right now were to compare before you got married and things were good, were they always like that and you were not able to see the red flags, or there was that love bombing with you before you
um,
guys hit off?
I think he was always detached, but I just had never, because I was so in love and so infatuated and wanted to have that relationship with him. I
Mm,
didn't see it
mm,
until later.
mm.
And it was probably the second or third year of our marriage that
That's
he
okay.
became a police officer. And then, and he did see a lot of things. He was involved in
Oh, okay.
um, kidnappings and shootings and drug confiscations, and he shut down.
Right.
But
Mm. Okay. And how long were you guys together before you guys
we
got
had known
married?
each other for about 3 years.
Mm,
Um,
okay. So how was that 3 years relationship? Was it better than the marriage? Was it different, or it's just that, like you said, you were just
the
too
first
much
two
in
years
love
were
that
long
you couldn't see
distance,
that
so
at
that
that point?
was completely different. And then the one year,
Mm, mm,
I think I was just too much in love to see his personality and understand that that was. I mean, he's not an emotionally sensitive person. Yeah. Birthdays and Christmas and anniversaries never meant anything. I mean, there were, not that you have to have gifts, but there was never a happy birthday or even a Merry Christmas or,
right, I get
um,
it.
in 19 years of marriage, I think he gave me flowers 5 times. And one of them was because I said, "You will buy me flowers today," to show me that you love me. So, you know,
Mhm.
right.
We won't count that one now, right? Uh, wow, 19 years. So tell me, uh, did he show any emotions, like when you got pregnant, when you had the son, his milestones or anything, or was it always a struggle for him,
The
just
only time I actually
expressing
saw him show
himself?
emotion is when I was pregnant with his son. It's the only time that he really wanted to connect. And
Okay,
as a matter of fact, I had planned on filing for divorce in December of, so that was 2009. And then I found out that I was pregnant in January.
okay,
And that is why I stayed for another 6 years
okay,
almost. And that's when he had this affair with his girlfriend from high school,
okay.
and all of that after my son was born. But that's
Mhm.
because he was showing attachment at that time. That's why I chose to stay.
I hear you. Okay. So, so when you walked away, how did you heal? Talk about your healing journey. How did you manage healing, and
I'll
how
say
was
I'm
it for
still
you?
healing. But I have read a lot of books. I still go to counseling.
Mm,
And I have some really amazing friends who have really
mm,
been there to help me, well, and they've commented, well, I didn't want to say anything while you're married, but I saw this, and I saw this, and it's nice that people
mm,
saw it, and now I've been able to process through, what I did,
mm,
and I asked the question to myself, what is the difference between love and codependency? And codependency to me is when I was
mm,
relying on him to come back. So I was giving everything I had to get him to come back to me. So my dependence was for him to return. Where, if you truly love someone, you give to them with
mm,
no expectation whatsoever. And
mm.
I
Absolutely.
could just love with no expectation.
Kind of. Okay, I lost your voice for a second. Right. Love with okay. I lost you for a few seconds there,
Sorry.
so that's why I was like, what's going on? Okay. That's all right. That's all right. We're fine. So tell me, what was the hardest part when you walked away for you in your healing journey? What was the hardest thing? This one thing that you can really pick up and say, this was the hardest thing for me when I was on my healing journey.
Mm.
Of course, we still know that you're saying you're still on it, but to begin with, what was the hard, or what is, maybe right now you feel it? What is the hardest part in your healing journey that you would say pick up and say
I
this was
think
the hardest
humans are
thing
not
for
meant to
me?
be alone. And I think we've all kind of felt that through this pandemic as we've been, sequestered in our own homes. And um, I am a member of a church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and their focus is primarily on family. And the hardest thing for me, sorry, has been to realize that my family doesn't look like I've
Yes.
always wanted it to look. And I go to church as a single mom with my son,
Mm,
and it's
mm,
hard, and I know people really don't judge me, but it's hard to feel like I don't fit how I used to, even though the marriage was hard. I mean, it
mm,
was
mm,
very hurtful.
mm,
At least to people it looked like we had a
mm,
relationship, and now I don't. And if you've ever read the book The Five Love Languages,
mm,
um, it talks about, there's five ways that we give and show love. One is spending quality time. One is physical touch,
mm,
giving gifts, giving service, and words of affirmation are the five. My love languages are quality time and physical
mm,
touch. And so walking away, um, I didn't, for me to go to bed alone at night is really hard, or was really hard. And some nights it still is. Or just to
mm,
have, um, sometimes
mm,
he would actually talk to me. And that's another
mm,
one of my love languages is quality time. Like, put down your
mm,
device and just spend time with me,
mm.
for a few moments. And I mean, I have my son and he's 10 and
Right.
he's amazing,
Mm,
but there's a difference between a 10-year-old and an adult to have that time with. And so that's
yeah.
been really hard to
Absolutely.
feel
Yeah.
alone.
Mm, mm-hmm. Yeah. So just being lonely has been really a struggle for you in this whole healing journey. And you spoke about family. If you don't mind, would you want to talk about that a bit in detail? Like, what did you analyze through that? Uh, you said something about family. I wanted you
Yeah.
to talk a bit
I
more in detail about
so
it.
in my family, my parents have been married for over 50 years. And my siblings all have been married. My brother's been married now for
Okay.
24 years. And and he got married about the same time I did. And so we have a very close family. We get together every Sunday and play games and share stories, and it's been different for me to have my family look different. It's hard.
I understand what you're trying to say. Right, right, right. And no, you're fine. You're fine. Has this is what you were feeling, but I want to know, was
Oh yeah,
your family like giving you the
a hundred
support you
percent, a
needed?
100%. My
But
parents
I think you're just being more hard
probably.
on
My
yourself through the whole
parents always told
process.
me, whatever, they saw what was happening in my marriage long before I did, and they always told me, if you need anything, we're here for you 100%.
Okay.
And they have been. I mean, probably um,
Mm.
more than anyone. My parents have been there and have supported me.
That's so beautiful. That's great. Sometimes what happens is, and I know this is turning more into like a coaching session, but I really wanted to give my 2 cents to you, is that I think that for you it was like
Yep.
you fell in love, and you fell in love so deeply, and when you fall in love deeply, that heartbreak is really really hard. And for you it's been tough because you were madly in love, and you did not just that, you tried everything to make that marriage work. And even then, on top of that, he cheated on you. uh, that kind of brings you down to a very low level about low thinking about yourself, that I was there, I was giving that person the
Right.
love, and I gave that person everything, right? And yet I got cheated on, right? And I think you just feel more that you're being more hard on yourself because you loved him so deeply, that that is where you're feeling the guilt for yourself, where you're saying that I don't know if I fit in when I see my family and stuff and all that. And where you were deeply in
Right.
love, you are that person, you want to be deeply in love, you want that special person to be in your life. And that void still being left hollow, it maybe just keeps on draining you, where you feel that you've not healed. You've probably healed, but
Right.
but but what you're wanting now, what you want to manifest for yourself, it's still not reaching to you. So you're in a bit of, and like you said, being having the pandemic, it's just become really hard for a lot of us. So it's just mixture of a lot of emotions you're going through. Having your parents, having your friends, having your siblings who are by your side emotionally to support you. I'm not talking about any other support. When you disconnect from a toxic relationship, the number one thing
Yeah.
is your mental well-being, and that can only be taken care of if you have that emotional support. If you don't have that, you can crash. So for you, like you said, you were blessed to have that, and then you have your church as well, where people were there, to welcome you and all that. I think that has played a
Oh
huge
yeah.
role in your healing. But I think, like you said, I'm still healing. I think you're still healing because uh, I think you're just being too hard on yourself, where you feel that
I would agree with
you're
that.
disappointed in
I do. I,
yourself.
you know, I say
You
I
know
should
what I
have left
mean?
within 6 months of my marriage, and
Right?
I'm very aware of that. Um, and I've talked to my counselor about that, and he asked me,
Mm-hmm.
how did you not see what was happening for so long? And I
Mm.
my answer was, well, I don't know.
Right.
And then his question back to me was, and if you did know, what would you
Mm-hmm.
say? And I thought, because I was in love. I'm not sure he ever was, but I was. And I wanted
Mm-hmm.
something so much that I was willing to ignore everything, and
Yes.
I know that
Mm-hmm.
about me. I do. So
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Yes. 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 I think what your counselor should have asked you is, that's a good question, where he says that if you knew if you could have left in that 6 months, what would you done? See, that is something you can't do. You
Right.
can't go back in the past and change the past, right? So you need to go back in the past and say, even if you knew on that, you still would have stayed, because that's you. You love deeply and you were in love, and when you're in love, people do crazy things. So I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm not going to
Right.
go and say why, or I could have, or why I didn't, because I already did that. And if you were given a chance, you would do the exact same thing, because that's who you are. And you don't need to apologize for being that. You love deeply, and there is nothing wrong in that. uh Tough luck for that guy that he couldn't see that or appreciate that. But the one who will, that chemistry is gonna flow naturally, right? So for you, I would really want you to just say to yourself is, hey, it's okay. I forgive myself, because you know what, I love deeply, and that is absolutely okay. Why is it absolutely okay? Because look at the other relationships around yourself. Your parents, your siblings, your friends, they all love you. Your son,
Oh yeah.
everything's fine. Everything is in a healthy state, right? There's nothing, there are no other relationships that are messed up, right? So that means you just need to understand yourself by saying, hey, it's okay, and I am absolutely fine, and I'm absolutely enough. And wanting to love someone deeply is and wasn't wrong of you, right? Because you can't beat yourself up for the past. It's done and over with. You're going to take the lesson, and you can't tell yourself why I did that. You did that. So what? You were madly in love. Just replace that for a second with somebody who appreciated you. Would we be having this conversation? Why do you love him so deeply?
Right.
No, because that would have been flowing naturally, right? So it was never your fault in the first place. It's just that is his hard luck. You just need to really just put your hand over your heart and say, what an amazing human being you are, who can love so deeply. And somebody who can see and appreciate that in you is gonna be wow. Like that man is gonna be like, yeah, he's gonna be really lucky. I have to say that. Uh, I think that for you, it's more like you're defining your love and how you love through that failure of a relationship, and through that lens, you're just defining your whole self, your whole image. And I know it's hard. um I have tons of survivors who come on board and they share their stories, and for me, it was just that I thought that I needed to bring this in light. Maybe it will help you in your healing journey. Is that there is nothing wrong with you, sweetheart. You're an amazing person. You love deeply, and you're gonna love again deeply, and this time it's gonna be perfect. And we will talk again, and you will say you were right. Don't be hard on yourself. Let's say I'm your friend right now, and I'm sitting here and I'm saying the same story to you.
Oh
What
my
would you say
goodness.
to me? Would you not?
I
I want you to really, really
I would
say,
probably
please go
say
ahead.
something, to realize that your value comes from you, not from your relationships, not from everything outside of you, but who you are in your heart. And it doesn't matter how other people treat
Exactly.
you because that's their responsibility. What matters is, do you know how to love? And do you know how to love yourself? And
Yes.
the hard thing after being in a
Mm,
relationship with someone that doesn't love you the way they could, the hard thing is to realize that it's okay. It is really okay to love yourself for who you are. And
yes.
I mean, through this journey for myself, I have come to understand I'm an amazing person. I do love deeply and I do have a lot to give. Um, and there will be,
Yes.
there will be hopefully someone. And if not, I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than to be in another relationship that hurts me. Um, you know, after my divorce to my son's
Mm,
father, I
absolutely.
did marry again. And that marriage, I had it annulled. I filed for the annulment on the anniversary of our marriage because of also like just unkindness, and unwillingness to try to connect with me, and I realized through that marriage also that I deserve someone who can see me. I deserve to be with someone who appreciates what I have to bring to the world. And if not, really, I really would rather just be alone. So it's so not worth
Right,
it.
right. It's not worth it, right? Right, right. And
Total,
how
it was
long
for
was the
18
second
months.
marriage for?
Um, but I knew within a month or so that I should have left.
Okay,
Um, I am one of those people who sees the
okay.
good in all, and
You're an
I tried
empath, you should
so
say.
hard, and I we went to counseling together, and I tried again very hard to get him to see who I was and to love me, and I finally realized, you know, I don't need to beg for love. I really don't. Um, and I have a 10-year-old
Mm,
son who was seeing this, and if for anyone, I mean, especially for me, because I deserve
mm.
better, but for my son also, he needs a better a role model. So,
Right, absolutely. Yes, yes, it's so important. Yeah. And for you, um, I would really want to advise you is as you already look, you go to the counselor. So I would really want you to either sit with him or do this alone. Is to have a conversation and connect with your inner self. Okay, and what I mean by that, you see, you have identified actually that you love deeply, right? Now, there's one thing that I am really been contemplating on lately, and that is uh, having a balance. And what I mean that
yep.
is emotional independency. And I think I love deeply too, so I know. Um, and I like to see the good in people, and I want to give them chances. And I can totally relate to what you're saying. So for me, I did that, and I'm giving out to you because I think you need to do this. Is what I did was I really stepped back and asked myself, okay, I love deeply, right? Yes, I do. Do I need to apologize for that? No. But why do I need to
Right.
go and love someone that deeply to that level where it comes in hurts me back? So what I did for myself was, okay, loving somebody deeply, and especially loving the right person deeply, is going to be okay. But even in that, even in the beauty is that you have to find that balance for yourself. Loving deeply is amazing, but you have to find that balance for yourself. And what I mean by balance is that you have to bring yourself to a place where you feel emotionally fulfilled with being alone with yourself. That doesn't mean that you can't have moments where you wish to be with somebody and that makes you feel sad. No, we're humans, right? And we live with interaction. We can't just shut ourselves out. But is actually that, okay, I love deeply, right? Yes. But when I meet this person, and this person is going to be the perfect person, if I love too deeply, I'm again opening that door for myself when I'm going to hurt. See, when even in any relationship, when you become too close, really close, like really close, right? Then you're giving each other the permission to 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 cross a line, to cross a boundary, to cross a place where it's going to hurt you. And that's not just in an
Right.
intimate relation, that can be in friendship too. So for you, I would really want you to not, I'm not saying don't validate the fact that loving deeply is wrong or I shouldn't. Yes, love deeply, that makes you a beautiful soul. We need such people on this planet. But when I'm going to love deeply, am I going to emotionally drain my energy because that high is so good to give that other person? Because it is, trust me, because when you find the right person, imagine the right person, the right person right in front of you, right? and and you fall for that person. When you are going to fall deeply in love with him, you are again we are again going to
Right.
go back in that cycle where we're going to open that emotional void, where we're going to take their energy, absorb their energy. That is going to emotionally drain us too. Eventually we will maybe not get that hurt, but we are going to get hurt. I'm not saying that it's inevitable to get hurt in relationships, but I'm saying where it's going to get exhausting, which we talk about is getting being in a toxic relationship kind of thing. So really just and I tell that to my clients, I tell that to anybody who comes up to me, is journal your thoughts. So when you're saying that you have moments where you feel lonely, right? Pick up a notebook and journal why you feel that way. And if that loneliness was taken care of, how would you feel? That just kind of helps you do a little bit of inner reflection to see where you're actually standing. You see, the hardest part to overcome for me, and that's what I do in my program too, is when you're healing is not just about overcoming the
Right.
abuse, right? That is one, that's like the major part. But the major part for me is healing is self-reflecting, right? And I can give you an example again, is that you ask yourself that, okay, when you revisit those moments, you say, oh, this person did this to me in that moment when I was loving them, right? And you tell that story to your friends and everybody, I was doing this. You actually step out of that situation and you
Right.
observe yourself in that situation. For example, you said, I'll take your example. You said that the second person was being unkind, and I saw it in the first
Right.
month, right? Now, what we do with that is we take that situation and say, okay, what was I doing there? What was my mistake there? Why was I doing that? That kind of gives us the sense of responsibility towards focusing on us, because when we focus on us, we are
Right.
able to see our own patterns, identify our own patterns, so we can break them, so we don't attract the same kind of people. And even when we attract the right kind of people, we know how we're going to
Right.
balance it, right? So do that work for yourself. Of course, I'm here if you need any help. I'm always here for you. Yes, somebody said hi, Miss Mavish. Hi, how are you? Sorry, I had to really
Right.
dig in deep. I really wanted to give that value to you, because I think that is so important, and that could really help you bridge that gap where I think you're feeling stuck between blaming yourself or being hard on yourself while you love deeply. It's absolutely okay to love deeply, but how you're going to find that balance for yourself is something you'll have to work on within your
And,
own self. And trust me, I'm giving out the secret, but journaling yourself is really going to give you massive insight about who you truly are and how you can bridge that gap for yourself. Tell me right now where you are right now, as far as your emotions are concerned, from the scale from 0 to 10. How do you feel? And how long, actually, I forgot. I don't know if you mentioned, how long has it been since been out of both the relationships? Has it been
um,
long enough, or was it
for my
recent?
son's father, my first marriage, I've been out now for about 5 years, and it's it's become more of a story
Okay.
than an emotional thing anymore. I've dug through a lot of it. My
Hmm.
second marriage,
Hmm.
I walked away in November, and so it's not been that long. um, but he was
Oh, okay.
a different kind of person. He's a narcissist, and I've dealt a lot with it with my therapist. And
Hmm.
I have completely cut him out of my life.
Hmm.
Because at first I was like, well, we can be friends, and maybe we can still go out and do things, and I don't want to be alone. No way.
No
So I
contact. Hmm.
finally
Hmm.
absolutely
Hmm.
cut him out of
Hmm.
my life. Just
Hmm.
it was literally a couple of weeks ago, and doing that has completely freed me.
Hmm.
I realize I love deeply, and if you ever talked to my
Hmm.
son, he's amazing, and I love him with my entire heart and soul. But I realized the other day, do I love myself as much as I love my son, or as much as I love or care for some of my friends?
Hmm.
And that was a really profound thought, because I mean, I do. I think I'm a great person,
Eye opener.
but I don't
Hmm.
know if I give myself as much as I give to my
Yes.
friends.
Hmm.
And I don't. let's see, I've
Mm.
grown up feeling that, if you're serving and giving and loving other people, then somehow it will build your own self-esteem and you'll feel better about yourself. And I have learned that you also need to give to yourself.
Yes, I'll tell you something on that.
No,
You can't pour from an empty cup. So you have to make sure your cup is always full first. You are such a beautiful person. You want to help and serve, and you've done that all your life. And now it's amazing that you've realized that what you're giving to your friends, what you're giving to your son, are you giving that to yourself? Because self-love, self-care is so important. And trust me, once you bridge that gap where you start to identify how you're going to love yourself, uh you won't feel that it I mean, I won't say that you won't feel it, but it won't
right.
be as intense as it is right now when you are feeling that you're lonely. Remember that uh, there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
energy around us. I don't know if you believe in energies and frequencies and all that. We carry our energy around. So when a person who loves
right,
to love others deeply, right? So what are we projecting? We are projecting to others, especially toxic people, uh, a sense of we being
right.
needy, and they want that. So that is why I told you that loving deeply is okay. Don't self-sabotage yourself, and don't invalidate that feeling for yourself. That is so profound, and that is so good that you want to love deeply. But you have to step back and really truly ask yourself, is this
Right.
loving deeply causing me more pain than it's filling me up? Yes, it is. Okay, then what am I going to change? Uh, it you can you've done the work where you threw out both of the men that didn't deserve you, but you have to do the work for yourself now, and that is the inner work where you understand you, so that there's not a third or a fourth or a fifth like that. Because once you do that, you'll see your own patterns and you'll break them for yourself.
Absolutely.
I hope I'm making sense. I'm not make, making you overwhelmed with so much of
No, absolutely.
information.
I have a good friend. We met recently, in the past couple months, and he asked me the other day. He said, "What do you do for yourself? You're always giving and doing, for me or for your son or for other people.
Mm,
What do you do for yourself?" And I do. I'm a photographer, so I spend a lot of time. I'll
mm,
take my camera and I'll go out in nature, or I'm an artist, I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a musician. Those things are for me, and I do those things.
wow.
Um,
Mm,
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about how I can love myself. And that's something, I'm overweight and I probably
mm,
have 100 pounds that I can lose. And that's a lot of weight and it's a lot of work.
mm,
Um, and don't,
mm,
I haven't in the past taken the time to love myself that way. And this friend now, he's been on a
mm.
journey where he's actually lost a lot of weight himself. And I've been watching him and being inspired by his
Okay.
journey. And I've told him I want to do that. I want,
Mm,
not for him, not for my son, but I want to do that for me. And so that's something I've started
mm,
recently, is looking at myself and thinking, how I only have one body. I'll never have another body. How do I take care of it? And started
mm,
eating
mm,
better and trying to do
mm,
better. And um, it's nice to have this friend there to say, I've done this. I will stand by you, and we can continue to do it together. And that's not something I ever had in my relationship, in my marriages, even. And so it's nice to have
mm, mm,
that friend who's empowering. And he's like, well, I believe in you and you can do this and I'll help you.
mm,
And
mm,
um, I'm finding the time for myself. Like my son had to do, he's a Boy Scout, and they had to do a fitness
mm.
test. And he came home and he was so proud, that he
Okay.
did 10 push-ups, and he's 10, and that's pretty amazing. And and I told him, let's see how many mom
Yes.
can do. And I got down on the floor and I did 10 push-ups, 10 regular push-ups, and then I did 10 modified where you go on your knees and do
Wow.
push-ups, And I thought, I am so much stronger than
Okay.
I
Okay.
ever knew I was. And as I thought
Mm,
about, physical push-ups, and then I
mm,
started thinking about emotionally, I'm so much stronger than I ever knew I was.
mm.
And so,
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Look what you've been through and you're still fighting. Look what you've been through, you're still fighting. Look what so much you've been through, and you're still wanting to love deeply. That makes you phenomenal already. I believe in you completely, because your heart has been broken twice, yet you are here and ready to love deeply. That is massive courage. So yes, you are absolutely strong and you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. So never self doubt yourself. It is absolutely amazing to know that you have a friend there who is there to motivate you in your weight loss. I'm also on that journey for myself, so it's nice to have that conversation with you. mm, um, and I think that uh, uh, I would really want you to really sit with uh, doing the exercise and taking care of your weight is amazing, bravo, but also
sure.
do some inner work on your emotions and as well along the way. Make sure that you reflect and you understand, and remember, whatever comes, whether good, bad, ugly, never never suppress it, or never invalidate your own self. It's okay. It is something in the past that will, something will show up to you, and you're not going to be comfortable uh, addressing it about yourself. But it's okay. You will have to address it so that you can learn, process, let go. Otherwise, you won't be able to break that pattern for yourself. Um, what message would you want to give to people right now listening to your story, who are stuck in a toxic relationship, or are stuck on their healing journey, or are having issues of loving themselves? What kind of message would you want to give them?
Well, first of all, what I've learned is how people treat me is their responsibility. I used to internalize, when someone tells you, well, no one else is ever going to love you, that's not true. How they treat you and they say to you is
Mhm.
their responsibility.
Absolutely.
And don't believe people's stories. As a photographer, I look through my camera lens to take a picture. But when my camera is in my face, all I can see is literally what's through the lens. I can't see everything else that's going on around me. And
Mhm.
and I call it photography vision. I lose sight of my son, I lose sight of everything around me. And I think when we're in a toxic relationship, we are so focused on trying to, especially if we're the fixer, we're trying to fix this. My advice would be,
Mhm.
take that lens down and look around you and see
Mhm.
what is your place in it, what is your responsibility, and then choose to
Mhm.
step out of
Mhm.
that tunnel vision, for lack of a better term, because
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
can't
Mhm.
you can't really fix it until you really realize that it's broken. Unless you realize how bad of a relationship it is, you really can't do anything to help yourself. No.
You can't, and you can't fix what you've not broken. So you need to really know that if
Right.
it's broken, are you the cause of it breaking? If not, then remember, you can't fix what you've not broken, and if you try to fix that, it's just going to ruin you or
And
damage you, because that's not, that's got nothing to do with you. So you're
right.
just
And
going to
that's
lose
my
yourself in
definition of
that process.
codependency, is trying to fix somebody else's broken because you think you love them,
Mm,
you know, and and
mm,
it is so hard to see it. My counselor asked me, "You were married for 19 years. How did you not
mm,
see it?" Because I didn't. And we hear that from women
mm,
all the time who are,
mm.
in emotionally or abusive relationships. How
Yes.
did you not see it? I didn't. And a pretty smart woman. You know, I'm pretty aware of things, but
Mm,
I did not see it.
mm-hmm,
And so my advice would be too,
mm,
if anyone has a friend that they see is in a bad relationship, you know, it's scary. It's scary as hell. But you should say something to that friend. Hey, I noticed that he was treating you this way, and
mm,
it really concerned me, or I didn't like what I saw.
mm,
You know, and I, as your friend, if I saw a friend in that situation, I want to pull a friend aside and to say, I love you so much. I want you to know what I saw. It's not how a man should treat a woman. You know, if you need to talk, and that's the thing too, to
mm.
have someone to talk to. You know, if you're stuck in that relationship, or you feel stuck in a relationship,
Yes.
is so powerful. And it doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be a friend. It could,
Mm.
you know, see anyone.
Yes,
So
yeah, it can be anybody. Yes, yes, yes. And you said that you didn't see it for 19 years. I was stuck for 10 years, sweetheart, and it's nothing to do with not knowing. I think that we knew. We
oh yeah,
knew all the, like you said, you knew in the initial period. It's that we like to focus on the good of the person. We like to focus on uh oh,
yes,
we're going to love them
yes,
deeply. It's going to change them. We will heal them. We will fix them. I have so much love in my heart for this person. Oh my gosh, I will
right,
give him that love, and it's going to fix him. It's going to make him love me. And it's never about not knowing. And somebody to come up to you and saying, how did you not know, is like telling you, I feel like it's like invalidating the whole thing. I think no, it was never that we never knew, whether it was 10 years, 5 years, whatever years. We always know. Our body tells us, our body gives us that gut, that our intuition, that we keep on saying, no, 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 it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, you know. It's not that we don't know, we know, but we want to take that risk. We want to love deeply. We think that we have so much to offer because we love deeply. We can give so much that will fix that person, that will fix their previous wounds. And that's where we are.
yeah,
That's where the mistake is. It's not that we didn't see, or why we didn't see that. It was we always, or we saw, like you said, we, the lens was always there. We could always see. It was just that we were not ready to accept it as it was. We were too
right,
focused on what we were seeing through that lens, and that was that we can give so much of love that we fix that person. So I would just like to say that to you and to everybody listening right now who's stuck in an abusive, verbal, physical, toxic relationship. First thing is get out of there. If you're unhappy, get out of there. If it's physical, get out right now. If it's emotional, get out, guys. Whether it's men, women, anyone, please. It's not worth it. It is one of the hardest things to do, but
yeah,
once you do that, trust me, the unknown becomes such a beautiful place to create the life of your dreams, that it becomes so worth it. uh, and I know I'm going to be a bit harsh, but I want to say this: whatever reasons you're saying that are stopping you from walking
yeah,
away are just your excuses. They're just your excuses. There is no way that you cannot walk away. Oh, but when this happens, oh, but when that happens, oh, but I'm this. No, no, no. You choose in this moment that that's it. You can walk away. Trust me. It might be hard, it might be scary, but it will turn out fine. She's here telling you her story. I'm here telling you this. It will turn out fine. My podcast is filled with survivor stories who've done that. So these are real people with rare experiences telling you that you would be fine. Uh, just seek out for the right kind of help. Do not reach out to people who've not been through this. People who've not been through this process will not understand you and will invalidate your experience, and that will make you self-doubt yourself and make you go back to that relationship. So when you walk away, make sure to connect with the right kind of people, whether it's in your community, in your friend circle, wherever. They have to know exactly what you're going through and know that they have to
right.
validate that and not tell you that what you've done is wrong. um, on that note, thank you so much for coming forward and sharing your story. um, I'm deeply touched, and I'm sorry that in the beginning,
Oh no, that's
maybe
okay.
I asked a few questions
It's an
that made you
emotional
emotional. That
story.
was not my point.
So
But I think yes, it is, and it's absolutely okay to show and process your emotions. I think it just kind of helps us to heal. I've cried so many times on my podcast. Thank you so much. You're such an amazing person. I am so grateful that we are connected, and we will stay connected even after this. For those of you who are listening, like always, guys, after this podcast, I will tag her, reach out to her, connect with her. She's a photographer, and reach out to her, guys, connect with her, tell her she's an amazing person, and tell her thank you for giving us a part of your life, a part of her personal self she's given us today by giving her story to us. So that means so much. That is so much of value that she's given to all of us in this conversation. I'm sending you so much love and virtual hugs for you, your son. Take care of yourself, guys. Take care of yourself. We are out.
thank
Take good
you.
care. Bye bye.